So, uncle, what excites you about these old cars?
Well, basically, especially this particular car, the red one, the Mustang, which we're sitting in,
Uh-huh.
this I had got a long time back, like I told you earlier also.
This one.
Almost, yeah, more than
Okay.
30 years, or
Uh,
maybe 35 years.
uh-huh.
So I have a lot of memories in this car, first of all.
Okay. Uh-huh.
And practically, I drove it straight from Calcutta to Delhi
I
without a
see.
mechanic that point of time. It was the condition of roads then, but still, I enjoyed driving it.
From Calcutta to Delhi, you drove it.
Yeah, we drove it. This car was from Calcutta. A friend of mine, he gave it to me,
Okay.
and I brought it here on road without any mechanical help or anybody, and came very perfectly all right. We had no
Okay. Okay.
nothing at all. So after that, like I mentioned earlier, also this
Mm-hmm.
was more or less my. I used to drive it every day,
Hmm.
daily
Hmm.
driver kind
Hmm.
of a car.
Ah.
So a lot of memories in this car.
But I'm sure there's something about these classic cars. I mean, you've got an option of, I mean, even today, I'm sure you drive it like once every week or twice every week.
Yeah.
What is it about them that, I'm sure there's a man and machine connection that you feel with these machines and not with the modern day machines. I really want you to tell
No,
me
no,
your heart on that.
absolutely. When you look back at these cars, you really find that you marvel at the engineering. Even what, let's say, although this car is about 52 years old now,
Mm-hmm.
even at that time, it had all the features of a modern car, which more or less, of course,
Mm-hmm.
technology has changed, things have changed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But then, giving that kind of power this car has, the pleasure of driving these cars is far different. You feel that you're driving a car. You're not driving a machine. I mean, there is
Mm.
some connect which happens, when you
Right.
drive this car. The
Right.
feeling is totally different. You enjoy driving this car.
Like you mentioned, it's a 5 liter, and I mean, if we look at five, I mean, there are 5 liter engines even today in the
Yeah,
modern cars. But I mean, those engines are primarily made for like speed and performance and stuff. But of course, these cars being these cars, they do not go up to those speeds. But there is something about these 5 liter engines from 50, 55 years that makes you want to drive them. So, what is it about the driving dynamics of these cars from this era that makes you want that excites you?
even the very fact that when you start this car, the noise of the V8 engine,
Hmm.
which is a carbureted engine, which is, it
Hmm.
itself makes it, I
Hmm.
mean, very exciting to drive these cars.
Uh-huh.
And of course, it has this own pleasure of, it may not accelerate as fast as a modern car,
Right.
but the fun of that noise, that feeling, that everything is totally different. I mean, you have
Mm-hmm.
to experience it to, can't be really explained in words. I am sure people who are passionate will know, and that's how people drive these cars and enjoy
Mm-hmm.
these cars and keep those cars in drivable condition.
I mean, I observed one thing that it kind of surprised me that you look at any 5 liter engine today, and it's very normally these cars are all running, modern day cars are running on multi link suspension setups and stuff. This one still has a leaf spring system, if I'm not wrong,
Yeah, the
at
rear
the
is a
back.
leaf spring. Yes,
There is a
absolutely.
leaf spring.
Yeah,
It's it's astounding to see how, I mean, giving such a big engine and giving leaf spring systems. And I figured that there might be some sort of floppiness in these cars which make these cars a little harder to drive compared to the cars which currently are there. Do you think the fact that these cars are a little harder to drive at higher speeds makes it more exciting?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's how, even now the driving skill also matters in these older cars.
Mm-hmm.
You should have a fair amount of idea when it will stop, how much you can accelerate.
Hmm.
Modern cars are far more driver friendly,
Hmm.
and I'm sure somebody who has not driven these cars, it will take him some time to get used to it. And
Hmm.
once they get used to it, they love these cars
Hmm. Hmm.
because that feel of,
Right.
you get the feel of the steering, you get feel of the moment, you get hear the engine
Right.
sound, the exhaust sound.
Huh.
Everything is exciting.
And I think it just brings me back to this very famous saying which I recently heard, that it was never high speeds that killed a person. It was always trying to stop
Yeah,
at
absolutely.
faster speeds, and with machines like these you really learn how to stop a vehicle.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's quite exciting. And this you mentioned, this is an old inherited machine that you have. What about that one, the silver one? When did you
That
have
that was
that?
about 4 years back. I got that car.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in fact, a friend of mine, he suggested that it was his father's car,
I see.
and they had sold it long time back, maybe
Okay.
about 25, 30 years back,
Okay.
and that owner wanted to sell it back to them.
I
So,
see.
so he was not interested. So he knew that I like Mustangs.
Mm-hmm.
So he told me, if you're interested, you talk to them and buy that car.
Okay.
So that's how it was. The car came in a very, very bad condition. in the
I see.
sense that the engine came in totally opened up. They tried to repair it, they couldn't do it. So
Oh my
it
God.
came in totally open. Even the gearbox was removed from the car and it was lying in the boot. And absolutely needed full work. It took me almost 2 years to bring it to that
वो तो
condition.
फिर सारी it would have come on a trailer, I'm assuming. Of
Yeah,
course,
yeah, it came in a
it was completely-
truck actually. Trailer में भी नहीं आ सकता था because it was all opened up kind of a thing.
I see.
So we had to load it in a full truck,
My
covered
God.
truck, and bring it. Yeah.
And now I think you've brought it to a condition that you can drive it at any
Yes,
point
yes. Now
of
we can
time.
drive it. It took us 2 years slowly and steadily, but we have been able to improve it totally.
Okay. Oh, so on both these machines, you were mentioning in our last video, you were mentioning something about a vintage car license. So, do you have that for both these machines?
No, these cars
Not yet.
both are valid registrations, but
Registration.
Delhi has started now the vintage registration.
Acha.
So sooner or later, I'll get these cars also registered under the vintage category.
Okay.
They call it the VA series,
Okay.
vintage series. They're calling
So,
it.
what impact would that have on these machines? I mean, in future?
Basic impact would be, I mean, the cops will not stop you saying that it's an old machine.
I see.
Because from far they'll say it's a VA, this thing.
I
So
see.
you're exempt from a number of things in that. For example,
I
seat
see.
belts are exempt. Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, seat belts are exempt. Even pollution control is exempt.
Okay.
Yeah, and many of these modern, these cars can't really. I
Right.
mean, maybe they can. But pollution may be less than a modern car sometimes.
Okay.
I have seen. I mean, at least I get it done regularly
Mm-hmm.
just to check where we are, and they pass very easily. There's no problem.
That's surprising. I mean, coming from a 50-year-old car, 55-year-old car, the pollution, it still is compliant with the pollution norms.
Absolutely, as long as it's tuned well, these
Okay.
cars. I mean, it's a wrong notion that modern cars pollute less. These cars
Wow.
absolutely they're fine. They should be tuned well, looked after well,
Okay.
and pollution is absolutely no problem.
Nice. Thanks, uncle, for this opportunity. I mean, we'll keep coming to you time and again once you get more and more machines. But
Yeah.
thank you so much for today.
Most
Thanks a lot.
welcome. Also, pleasure.